There's no card in here. Jordan, there's no card.
There's no, oh, there is no card in there. Boom.
All right, guys, we have episode 2 of 2 because we are bringing Miss Antoinette Matlins back. She is a gemologist, author, and consumer advocate in the business. We had her on another episode to talk all about pearls. Now we have episode number 2. I'm in for a treat, and so are you. Okay, not a sapphire. I'm gonna think it's a sapphire, but let's check it out. Okay, box in a box. This is typical YouTube behavior. Button. What is this? Not a ruby, is it? It's a ruby. Maybe the biggest ruby I've ever worn. Oh my gosh, and that color? Okay, come here and tell me more about this.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't even breathe. That's huge.
Actually, I don't think it looks all that huge on your hand. I think your hand wears it very nicely. Don't you?
Okay,
seriously.
It's huge.
It is. It's a significant size.
How many carats is that?
5.08 carats.
Okay, and that is a beautiful, beautiful color.
This is an incredible ruby. The color, the brightness, there is nothing that's immediately eye visible. There's nothing eye visible. It's unbelievably clean. And you realize we're looking under the worst light possible for rubies. Rubies show their richest red in an incandescent light source. You know, the old-fashioned lights that got warm, they're heavy in the red-orange end of the spectrum. So all red gems look fabulous under that light. The worst light for red stones is fluorescent light because it's heavy on the blue-violet end of the spectrum, but this one still keeps an amazing red, and outdoors in daylight, it keeps this amazing red, which is a characteristic that it shares with ruby from the best-known source of all, which is the source every ruby dealer has thought it came from. Looking at the stone, its character, its color, its personality, if you will. I know my husband thinks I'm nuts when I talk about stones having personalities, but I think JTV viewers understand what I'm saying. They all think it's Burma.
Okay, so we should probably pause right there and talk about sources for ruby.
Exactly. The primary historic source for ruby in terms of the collected, coveted rubies is Burma / today we know it as Myanmar, right? But we still call them Burma rubies. Thailand, India. These were historic sources. Today, Greenland has rubies. Madagascar has some amazing rubies. Pakistan has rubies. The US has rubies. But when you think ruby, most people think Burma. In terms of gem, collectible, collectors have to have it.
It has this like prestige and status in the business.
Right. But the place this one comes from is none of the places I just mentioned. Tajikistan.
What?
Exactly, Tajikistan, which is north and west of Burma. It's north of Afghanistan, north of Pakistan. It's like just north of Afghanistan and Pakistan. And then it also borders China. With any gemstone, when a person looks at it, a knowledgeable person who's used to dealing with that gem, looks at it and just off the top of the head says, wow, what a gorgeous ruby, Antoinette. I haven't seen a Burma like that in years, okay? They didn't ask what the origin was.
They assumed
because of its unbelievable color and character. Now, the interesting thing, and one that I hope that viewers will think about, and I hope maybe you younger viewers will take this issue and start the ball rolling, because one of my personal pet peeves is if it looks like a Burma ruby, it's actually rarer than rubies from Burma.
Oh.
Why, when somebody then learns it's Tajikistan, do you see this oh?
Because it does.
What do you mean, oh?
It's a great stone.
Because it doesn't have the Burma allure. This is rarer, equally beautiful to the finest gem material, and yet people will pay 4 times more for this if it comes from Burma than if it comes from Tajikistan. Why? it's rarer. And personally, I don't think there's going to be any question given where the Burma market is going in terms of the mines not producing gemmy material anymore. Yes, we have some African sources and we have some other sources in other places, but when you look at this stone and you instantly think Burma, why doesn't it rapidly rise to an elevated status that it deserves, it merits because of its beauty, in my opinion. It's just my point of view. I think this is one of the most beautiful rubies I've ever seen.
I think this is the most beautiful ruby I've ever seen.
And as I said, and it's huge. It's 508 and it's clean. It has lab reports from the major labs. It is just a natural, not heated.
It's amazing.
Which is another major thing. Most rubies and sapphires have been routinely heated for decades. It's an accepted trade practice, exactly. But to find one that's naturally this beautiful, just like a Burmese ruby that would be naturally that beautiful, they're much, much rarer, and the Burmas are much, much costlier. This one, in my opinion, should rival the finest Burma in terms of its value, but that's not for me to decide. That's for buyers to decide. But I can appreciate its beauty and its rarity. Colored gemstones were the choice for engagement rings for hundreds of years. Emerald was a popular choice because it was believed to ensure unending love. You know, things that are green tend to die in winter, but then they come back.
Yeah, it never stops.
It never stops. There's this association to emerald because of the green color that it symbolizes basically eternity, and therefore, as a symbol for engagement and wedding, was a very powerful. So emeralds were a very popular engagement ring for hundreds of years before diamond. Natural pearls was the first associated with love and marriage. We mentioned that in our pearls segment. Natural pearls we're talking about, but pearls. Rubies were believed to ensure passion in a relationship, probably because of the color red and its association to blood, which is essential for life. You know, but it's an amazing stone, and this one is particularly beautiful.
I think it's beautiful.
So, and I love the setting too. Oh, let's
see what else is in the other box.
Let's open this box, actually. Let's see, what do we have in this one?
Oh my!
I think I'll start with that. Put this one on the other hand.
Hey, look at this! Emerald.
This,
Colombian.
that's what everybody thought it was.
Whenever I remember learning about Colombian emeralds, and Colombian emeralds are typically almost a little bit more blue.
Slightly, a hint of blue, the hint of blue undertone.
Hint of blue undertone, and I see
There is a hint of blue in it.
slight hint of blue undertone in this.
Right.
And the clarity is beautiful, and that color just
Right, and if you get, again, this is not the ideal color. This is probably the worst lighting on the planet for emeralds. The green of this is an amazing green. It's almost a pure spectral green. This is the nicest part of the suite I'm going to show you in terms of the depth of color and the brightness and the beauty. And a number of people were very excited to see this Colombian emerald, but it's not Colombian.
What is it? It's not Brazilian. Zambian.
Not Brazilian.
Ethiopian?
It's not Zambian. Nope. All good guesses.
Brazilian, Colombian, Ethiopian.
You can keep going. You could say Africa.
Zambian.
Zambian, right? I think you did say Zambian. You could say Pakistani.
Hold on. Afghanistan.
You could say Afghanistan, but all of them would be wrong.
Okay, well then just, I don't, it's from the US?
It's from North Carolina. Well done, Natalie.
Lose my mind.
But how
Hey, I
many
get
have
to
you
have-
seen this quality? I remember seeing a 4-carat that I actually took with me to the Accredited Gemologist Association meeting in Tucson, and we passed it around. And at the end, I said, I just want everybody to look at this and note the color, the clarity, the size. It was 4+ carats. And then we're going to talk about it. And everybody looked, and they oohed and they ahed. And I said, okay, what's the origin? They all paused for a couple of minutes, and finally one person said Afghanistan, and then everybody else said, I said, how many think it's Afghanistan? A lot of the hands went up. I said, good guess, but you're wrong. And then they said Colombian. And I said, no, it's not. We thought it was Colombian because, and you asked us what the origin was, so we figured it couldn't be Colombian, which is why we said Afghanistan, but it's got to be one or the other. Nope. And they said, well, it's not Zambian because of this, and it's not thus and such because of that. And finally, when I pointed out that it has inclusions that differ from any other source in the world, and it has lab reports that prove it is from North Carolina, but that 4-carater, it looked like the finest gem Colombian emerald I've ever seen. This one is beautiful. Most of them are not quite as rich a color, but still quite amazing. It's a beautiful color green. It's actually a very different color. The hue is different from the more pastel Colombian material. You put comparable hue, and this has a brightness and a subtle difference in color that the lighter Colombian material does not have. The earrings are just fabulous. And again, we're looking at it in terrible lighting. We're looking at both of these in terrible lighting. If you saw this in outdoor light or any kind of fuller spectrum light, you can put the earrings on, because I'm not good at putting on earrings for other people. They look really good on you.
My mood just elevated. A few carats.
Hair back.
It's amazing what jewelry can do to your mood. Every day I'm a little grumpy. I'm gonna come and see you.
And most people don't realize how many American gems there are. Tiffany and Company had a magazine at one time called Tiffany.
Right.
It was not very long-lived, but it was sold on the newsstands, and for their first article, they had me write an article on American gems. We are the only known source of the second rarest red gem on the planet. The first one being red diamond.
I've never seen a red diamond.
Oh, there are only a handful of known, well, more than a handful now.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
Oh, they're quite wonderful. The second rarest is red beryl, B-E-R-Y-L. Now in blue, you know it as aquamarine. Yellow, you might know it as golden beryl or heliodor, right? You know the emerald variety in green.
Bixbite.
The Mineralogical Society, International Mineralogical Society, has now said we really should not call it Bixbite because it will be confused with the mineral Bixbyite. Bixbyite. So what is in a name? They're still trying to decide what to call this. Most people don't know what beryl is. You don't call aquamarine blue beryl. You don't call emerald green beryl. And most people think beryl is spelled B-A-R-R-E-L. And pickles should be in it. The people who are doing the mining now, of course, they would like to call it red emerald because it's even rarer than the green variety, and it is precious and valuable. But people say emerald is green. So how can you call a red green by a name that's for a green stone? And then, of course, I remind them that when I was growing up, sapphire was always blue. It was the only color in which sapphire was known at the time in terms of the general field. Sapphire was blue until it wasn't, until it was pink and yellow
orange and
Padraja, greens, violet, color change.
Yeah.
Okay, as mining has expanded and we learn more, and communication and transportation is, hop, skip, and a jump. We're finding all these other materials and learning about things in the last decade faster than ever before in history. But these are two crystals. Look at those crystals. They are virtually twins.
Wow.
Look at them. You see? They are really absolutely the same crystal. They can also only be treated with oiling. You can't change the color through irradiation or heating like you can with aquamarine or golden beryl or goshenite. You can only use one treatment to improve them, and that's filling a fracture, which doesn't change the color. It simply eliminates the whitishness so you can see the color better. And you can always remove the filler to see what the color really is. But look at the crystal forms.
It's amazing.
And look at this. And this is the second rarest red gem on our planet.
And look at that color, guys. It looks not that different than, is that beryl?
Red beryl.
Man, you are making me real happy.
But actually, the red beryl goes with it goes nicely with the ruby ring. Except it's much rarer than
ruby. You know what?
ruby.
My job is really hard. I have to wear all of this. My job is very hard.
The market will determine what it ends up being called.
It's beautiful.
In all of my books, I've always said red beryl, parentheses, also known as red emerald, with quotes around the emerald. I want to communicate what it is. In terms of rarity, it's extremely rare. In terms of beauty, it's extremely beautiful, and it's the sister to the green variety we call emerald. I think that sums it up.
That's cool.
Okay, but I thought you'd like to see the crystals. And
Yeah, I think
you can
they're
and you
lovely.
can see the beautiful hexagonal shape. And these are natural. They haven't been polished or touched at all. This is the way they form in nature. So I'll put that aside. So that's beryl. How about new gems? You know the thing about the colored gemstone world, just about the time we get very complacent and think whatever gems are out there, they've already been discovered. And then this year, the first new gem of the 21st century, and it's rough. This is not cut and polished, but this, look at this beautiful stone. Isn't
We
it a
talked
beautiful
about
color?
this earlier. Yeah, it looks like something from the ocean.
It looks like something from the ocean. It is not aquamarine. It sort of looks aquamarine-ish in color. It's not quite green enough to be chrysoprase, but it has characteristics similar to both. And the major gem testing laboratories in the world and the Mineralogical Society have accepted the name aquaprase, a new stone, which is different from aquamarine or chrysoprase. And so far, I've seen only 2 that are facetable grade, but the beads and the cabochons are just fantastic. And maybe the next time I come, I'll have some jewelry made from some of this material. It was found in Africa, and quite frankly, I can't tell you exactly where in Africa because that's still being kept under wraps. That's how new a discovery it is, and they're trying to get everything protected before word gets out exactly where it is for obvious reasons. The thing, as you know, and most of you viewers know, whatever color you like. Unlike when I was a child, and if you wanted red, your choices were garnet or ruby. If you wanted blue, it was sapphire. If you wanted green, it was emerald. And then, of course, there was diamond, and there were pearls, and then there were the birthstones. Today, that has all changed. Think of the colors that garnet comes in. I remember when I was younger saying, garnet comes in every color except blue. Today there's a color change variety that's blue to purple. So now we have blue. Sapphire was blue, except today it became pink sapphire. And then there was the yellow variety, which was yellow sapphire. And then there's the podparagium, what we were saying earlier. Think of any gem, topaz. Think of the colors topaz comes in. There are so many colors. Tourmaline comes in more colors and more shades of those colors than any other gemstone. So whatever color you want, there is something for you.
Well, I learned a lot today. I'm wearing some beautiful jewelry.
are.
I want you to pick one piece and show it to the camera for our viewers to take a closer look at. What would you pick?
The twins, brother and sister, red and green.
All right, guys, so take a closer look. These are all brothers and sisters, different color. All 4 are uniquely beautiful. And thank you to Antoinette for having them on the show today. Well, guys, thanks for watching today, and a big thank you to Antoinette. Leave Antoinette a big smiley face emoji again, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that hit the bell for notifications. You don't want to miss out. We have a few more guests coming up for episodes at the JTV Experience, and I think we're good. This is fun today.
We're good.
I
really
couldn't be
looking
any
forward-
happier.
No.
We'll catch you later, and don't miss out what we've got coming up next. Thank you.